In order to learn what PHP is now, it's going to be helpful for us to first examine the history of PHP. Version 1 of PHP was written by Rasmus Lerdorf in 1994, and it was a set of CGI binaries in the C programming language that he wrote to replace a set of Perl scripts that he'd been using to maintain his personal homepage. So basically, he was looking for a way to make maintaining his web page easier. Version 2 was a more formalized version that he put out in 1995, and this version improved the original version and also combined it with code to interpret information that had been submitted by web forms. And this was the first public release of PHP. Now, PHP at this point stands for Personal Home Page Tools, PHP. We can see that. But in version 3, things changed, and two other developers got involved. Ziv Zaraski and Andy Gutmans, two Israeli developers, rewrote major parts of PHP between 1997 and 1998. They also renamed it, and the new name became PHP: Hypertext Preprocessor. Now you see we still have PHP there in the three words, but the first word of the acronym is the acronym itself. And this is called a recursive acronym, and this is what passes for programmer humor, so get used to it. Version 3 is still supported by web browsers, but it's not being improved or actively maintained. In version 4, things changed once again. Zaraski and Gutmans formed a new company called Zend, and Zend rewrote the core of PHP. It was a big update that made it very full-featured, and they released it in May of 2000. Now the PHP group maintains PHP, and Zend Technologies, their company, actively guides the development on the PHP that we are going to be using. Version 4 is still supported by updates like security and bug fixes. And in fact, version 4.4.6 was just released on March 1st of 2007, and version 4.4.7 is already in the works right now. There's also a version 5 of PHP, which came out in July of 2004, which is based on another new and improved version of the Zend engine. And PHP 5 includes a lot of new features, such as object-oriented programming and better database connectivity. And the latest stable version of that is going to be 5.2.1, which was released on February 8th of 2007, and again, 5.22 is already in the works. Now, as I mentioned, versions 3, 4, and 5 are still supported by browsers, and versions 4 and 5 are being actively supported by updates. And either 4 or 5 are going to be acceptable for this tutorial. Most everything I'm going to teach you will work with all versions of PHP 4 and all versions of PHP 5. And the few times when there may be exceptions to that, I'm going to note those differences for you along the way. Now that we've taken a look at the history of PHP, hopefully you have a better understanding of the state of the software, and you'll understand when we're talking about version 3, 4, or 5 what we actually mean. Before we get started by installing PHP, let's examine one final question, which is why should you use PHP? And we'll do that in the next movie.